Hey, it's Mike with Leverage and Digital Marketing Lab. In this video, I'm going to share with you the secrets to selling your services faster. All right, before we get into it, please subscribe to my channel. And if you have any questions or comments after watching this video, I'd love to hear from you down below. I'll respond to each of them personally. And if you could, give the video a big thumbs up and share it with somebody who could also use this. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. Now, if you are selling or delivering services to small businesses, cost is an absolutely critical factor to your success. It may be even the most important factor. And why is that? It's because small businesses cannot spend a lot of money. They have really limited budgets, and so we have to make sure that everything that we're doing is within a cost range so that we can price our services at a price point where we're able to sell those services and maintain those customers over time and still make the margins that we need to make to survive and have a healthy business. So in order to do that, one of the most important factors in controlling the cost of our sales is to control the speed of the sales cycle. Now, controlling the cost of acquiring customers, that's what that CAC stands for, is one of the most critical metrics when it comes to selling to small businesses. And in most cases, successful companies that are selling to small businesses are acquiring customers at between $500 and $2,500. That's the cost to acquire a customer. So the way you calculate that is you take your sales and marketing costs for the month and you divide it by the number of customers that you actually acquired that month, and you get a cost per customer that you acquired. Now, there's a plus over here, because some businesses actually spend much more than that. The HubSpots of the world spend $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 to acquire a customer on average, but that's because they're investing a ton of money in trying to have the whole marketing landscape locked up for their type of platform. And so they're doing all kinds of expensive content marketing and things like that that you and I probably can't afford at the scale that they're doing it, but they also have a pretty high price point and long customer retention, which allows them to make that work. And of course, it doesn't hurt that they've had hundreds of millions of dollars in venture financing and access to the public markets to be able to finance that. Again, we don't have that. So what we have to do is we have to be fast. We have to sell faster. And that's what we're going to cover here in this presentation. Now, I want to make sure that we know exactly what we're talking about when I say sell faster, okay? So this is the sales and marketing cycle if you represented it on a time frame. Okay, so the sales and marketing cycle. Now, what's key here is that the sales cycle happens somewhere around here when a prospect makes contact with you. Now, that could be inbound. They visit your website, they do some research, and they hit the contact form and get in touch with you. Maybe they schedule a call for a discovery call, something like that. Or it could be that you're doing some sort of outbound prospecting activity and you make contact with that prospect, but then we get into our normal sales activity, right? The things that you know of as sales activity, doing those discovery calls. Maybe you're preparing a proposal for them or doing some sort of free trial and you've got some follow-up and eventually you close the deal, okay? Anything from here over is that sales cycle. Prior to that is the marketing cycle. Okay, so the marketing cycle is when that prospect is out there in the world, realizes that they have a problem that they need a solution to, and they start researching solutions, and maybe you've done some webinars, maybe you've got some good blog posts out there, and they see your marketing, and so now they consider you as one of the options. And then again, at some point or another, maybe they decide to make contact, or they are open to your cold call or cold email that you send them because they've heard of you and they've seen the marketing that you're doing out there in the marketplace. But this direction is marketing, okay? So I just want to make sure we're clear when we're talking about shrinking sales and the speed to sales and the time it takes to get us a sale, we're really talking about this over here. Okay, so the first strategy to shorten that sales cycle, to make that selling faster, is to productize. And I have taken an approach to this that has been controversial my entire career, but it's also worked my entire career. And now you will see that almost every successful business selling services to small businesses is doing this, which is you should be able to put your products and your prices right up on your website so that a visitor can come to your website, see what you have to offer, and see how much it costs them right there on your website. Let me show you an example of this. This is from my marketing services business where you can see here, I've got an attract package, connect, engage, and ignite. And you can see my price points, $9.99 to $3.99 a month. And you can even get a combo package and save right there. So I put all my price points right there. This is kind of like going to that car dealership where you don't have to haggle on prices, where it's just got the price right there on the window and you know that you're not going to have any high pressure salesperson bugging you. This is kind of like that, right? And if I can come to your website and I can see what you have to offer and I can see the price points right there, it makes it easy for me to make a decision. And it eliminates all of that long, the discovery calls, the writing proposals, the having meetings with their team and going back and forth and, trying to build the value before you reveal the price. I'm telling you right now that stuff is not a good idea when you're selling to small businesses. It's a great idea if you're selling to really large companies that can spend hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars on services with you, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about small businesses, and all of those things add cost. We need to shorten our sales cycle, take out the cost, and productizing is one of the easiest and most effective ways to do that. Next is focus. Focus, okay? And by focus, I mean by industry or function or both. And I'm going to give you an example of each of these. Focusing on an industry, here's an example over at Law Hustle. They have the law firm growth system. Okay, they are focused specifically on law firms. Now, why does focusing on an industry like that help? Well, one, it just makes the value proposition nice and clear. Again, we're trying to, ensure that a customer can come to us or a prospect can come to us and easily identify that, yes, this is the solution I'm looking for. This is for me. It solves my problems. And so when you're really focused on a particular niche or a particular industry, you can make sure that that value proposition is really, really dialed in for them. There's some other really important benefits to focusing like this that I'll talk about here in just a little bit. But let me show you, before I do that, a functional example of focus, okay? So what I mean by functional example is that instead of focusing on an industry like law firms, you could focus on a particular marketing function. Okay, this is from the homepage of a company called Repurpose House. And you can see right here, explode your social media presence with your existing content. We turn every type of content into social media savvy videos and images for one flat monthly rate. Okay, so they don't care what industry you're in. They just care, do you have social content and do you want it repurposed into more social content for a flat monthly fee? That's also a great form of focus because, again, as a visitor, I can come here and know, okay, very clearly, there's the value proposition. That's what I'm looking for. It's for me. Okay, so that's the second example of focus. The next strategy here is to make it really easy to buy from you. Okay, remove those barriers and those costs from your sales process and just make it really easy to buy from you. So here's an example. Bench, you're probably familiar with these guys. These took the old accounting firm and turned it into a really nice productized service, flat monthly fee. And you can see here, even though there's somebody in the background there doing accounting for your business, look at this. They have a free trial. They have a free trial. They will let you get started for free. Now, is there cost to that for them? Of course, there is. But what they have figured out, and you will now know, is that the cost of providing that free trial is less than the cost of having a long, drawn-out sales cycle by doing the normal proposal stuff, right? So they just said, hey, look, we'll give you a free trial. You can get started right away because that shortens their sales cycle. They've made it easier. They've removed the barriers. The other real big gotcha here is if you've got those big, long, nasty contracts that it feels like a legal team has to review to know whether or not they can do business with you, and Are they going to have to give up their firstborn child to break that contract with you? Get rid of that contract, throw that thing out, rip it up, do business in good old normal human language, have as little legalese as you can, make it easy to do business with you. Okay, the next one is you've got to price to sell, okay? Again, selling to small businesses, price is incredibly important. Small business owners feel the pain in their personal pocket. I like to think about when I'm pricing my services to small businesses, what is it that they're having to consider giving up to do business with me? Okay, I'm a small business owner, and if you come pitch me on something that's too expensive, I literally start thinking, well, I could buy a really nice luxury car with that. I could hire a full-time employee or a part-time employee instead of investing in your service and have more flexibility as to how I use them and maybe get more of their time and attention. That could help pay for my kids' college, right? I started thinking about the personal impact on me. Because most small businesses don't operate with budgets. They're not doing sophisticated budgeting processes. They're not saying, hey, this year we have to spend, $100,000 on marketing and I want to make sure and spend that to hit my growth goals. Most small businesses don't have a planning and budgeting process like that. So they're evaluating every single expense as it's coming out of their own pocket, right? Because it pretty much is. So we've got a price to sell. Again, going to our friends at Bench, look at these price points. This is for bookkeeping. I remember when I hired a bookkeeper early in my career, it was like $3,000 a month. You essentially got a fractional bookkeeper. Now look at this, $299 a month, $139 a month. It's a really, really nice service. And at those price points, I can sign up, throw it on a credit card, not even think about it. It doesn't cover my Porsche payment, right? So I'm not worried about giving up my luxury car for the $299 a month. It's just much easier to swallow, and that's the way your services should be as well. The next one here, this is so critical, is marketing more than selling, especially in today's world. This is so critical where right now it's hard to get somebody on the phone with cold calling. When I started my career, that was how we sold. That was all I did. I literally sat at my kitchen table with a phone and made 150 cold calls every single day to grow my business. But now that doesn't work very well. I mean, you can still do it to some degree, but now it's about creating content, running Facebook ads. It's about marketing, okay? Peter Drucker, perhaps the godfather of marketing, said the aim of marketing is to make selling superfluous. That last word's a big fancy word. I had to look it up. It means unnecessary, all right? If you do a good job with your marketing, you don't have to do very much with your selling. And going back to this timeline, right? I want you to imagine that here again is where the prospect makes contact. But if you are doing a cold call, to make that contact happen, a cold call, okay? That means that your prospect wasn't expecting to hear from you. They're just sitting around doing their business, taking care of whatever they have to take care of the day. They get a random phone call from you. They pick up the phone. At that point, your sales cycle is going to be as long as possible. With small businesses, you can expect 30 days on the short side. 90 days is probably more realistic. And the reason why is they are starting from a cold scratch, a cold start, right? So, I mean, it's like if you just got a hold of me cold today and I wasn't out there looking for your services, you're having to really make sure that I really recognize the problem. And okay, I recognize the problem, but I haven't evaluated other vendors. So now that you're calling me, yes, I am interested in this, but I'm going to do some evaluation. I've got to talk to my team. It's going to be a longer process. Now, depending on what you're selling, it could be easily on that 90 days, right? If I have to rip out an existing system to put your system in, if I have to train multiple people on my team, that's really going to slow this down, right? So if you do more marketing so that this prospect instead makes contact with you more often than not, right? This is inbound instead of outbound, instead of cold. Why is that so important? Well, look, if you've got blog posts out there, videos out there, webinars happening, you've got a podcast going, and you've got all these prospects out here, that are all listening to your podcast, watching your videos like this one on YouTube, right? Reading your blog posts. You don't even know how many of them are out there doing that, right? Marketing content is scalable. So for every one person that I can reach with cold calling today, there could be hundreds out there watching this video, right? This video will get hundreds of views. There could be hundreds of them. And one or two or three or four or five or 10 or whatever it is going to decide to reach out to me and make contact. Now, when they reach out to me and make contact, what's the big difference? The big difference is they've already been listening to all of my content. They've already been hearing what I have to say, hearing what my value proposition is, doing the research. Maybe they're watching 10 of my videos, reading 3 of my blog posts before they contact me. I don't know. It's marketing. It's all happening out there, right? With them consuming my content. All I know is that when they reach out to me, they are already much more educated, much more pre-sold on working with me and my services. And so this sales cycle is going to be as short as it can possibly be. I'm not starting from a cold start, right? They are educated by the time they get to me because they have gone through my content. So more marketing, do more marketing, right? More marketing versus selling. Now, you may be saying, Mike, I don't have the budget to do more marketing. I get it. Okay, as I said, I started my businesses with 150 cold calls a day. I did that for years. But the great thing about the world that we live in today is me recording this video and posting on YouTube costs essentially nothing. Creating a blog post costs essentially nothing. Recording your voice into a podcast on Anchor costs nothing. So it really is just about the hustle and the discipline of getting that content out there. Do more marketing than selling. Okay, the final really big one. This is what allowed me to sign up over 300 customers at my marketing service provider in one single month, and that is leveraging channels. Now, what's really important to understand is that the things that we talked about earlier, the strategies that we talked about earlier, really make this strategy possible. Okay, the key here is to find out who already has your customers. Who already has your customers gathered up that you can tap into with your marketing message and use them as a channel to reach those customers really, really efficiently. Instead of having to go onesie twosie and reach out and try and find these customers one at a time, you can go through a channel of somebody that's already got your customers, and you can reach hundreds of them or thousands of them at a time. It's incredibly, incredibly powerful. And again, that's how I signed up over 300 customers in 1 month. But you can't sign up 300 customers in 1 month if you don't have productized services, right? If you have to do custom proposals and all that stuff, you'll never do that. You'll absolutely flop. You have to have something that's up on your website with packages and price points that somebody can come to and put in a credit card. Otherwise, forget about it, right? You have to have focus. Otherwise, the channel is not going to make any sense, right? If the channel is the U.S. Dental Association's trade show, but you're not selling to dentists, well, then that channel doesn't make sense. So we've got to do those other strategies first that all then allow us to leverage channels. I just did a little bit of research for fun, and I was actually looking at the U.S. Dental Association, and I was looking at just these regional meetings that they have on their website. There's regional meetings. Look at all these meetings. That's in 1 day of 1 month. Look at all of these meetings that they have. These are all meetings and continuing education opportunities for dentists. And that's part of what dentists have to do in their career to stay certified with the state and all that good stuff. They get continuing education just like chiropractors and doctors and everybody else does. But look at that. That's one set of meetings on 1 day of the month. That's ridiculous. What a channel if I can tap into that dental association. So let me give you some examples of channels. Trade shows are amazing channels. Associations are amazing channels. In today's world now, podcasts. You can find podcasts that are focused on an industry and get interviewed on that podcast. YouTube channels like this. You can find YouTube channels that are focused specifically on an industry and get your content on those YouTube channels, maybe do an interview with them on YouTube. There's newsletters that you can get a promotion sent out in their newsletter. Sometimes you have to pay for that. Sometimes you don't. Okay, doing educational content for any of those that I just mentioned will very often allow you to get access to that channel for free, because oftentimes the people who are running those channels are looking for good educational content to get out to their user base, right? That's what trade associations do, newsletters do, podcasts. They all need other people with good content to help them create their own content and add value to their users. So leveraging channels is incredibly powerful. But again, you have to do those other things first to make sure that you're ready for it. All right. I hope that you enjoyed these strategies. I've got a free course for you here, a free course, okay, where I've taken a lot of these strategies as well as many more that I've used to build multiple seven-figure businesses. Okay, I don't mean to boast here, but I've been an Inc. 5000 CEO 3 times over. I've been able to exit my businesses for multiple 7 figures. I've grown to 7 figures within just a handful of months of starting. I've done that in service businesses, e-commerce businesses. I would love to share with you the strategies that I've utilized to grow faster. Again, it's a free course right here. Head over to digitalmarketinglab.io/grow faster. If you'd like some more training that could help you ignite growth at your business, I'd love to see you over there, okay? Thank you again so much for tuning in. If you could please subscribe to the channel, like this video if you got some good value out of it. Any questions or comments down below, share it with a friend, and please head over to digitalmarketinglab.io/grow faster for that free course, and we'll see you on a future video. Thank you so much.